My name is Baraka Waikoyo, and I'm the PYP coordinator at FISA of Freedom International Schools Africa. And tonight I'll be your moderator. So whether you're joining us from Kenya or any other part of our country, you are so welcome, and we are so thrilled to have you here. So before we just dive in, let me just say that if you're a parent who is searching, questioning, or wondering what is the right education for your child, you're in the right place tonight. And you are not just going to hear from the school, the marketing department, or just brochures or anything. No, you are going to hear from real piece of fraternity. And yes, parents who have asked the same questions that you're asking yourself. Okay, we are going to work about that throughout the day, throughout the night. Now, before I introduce our incredible panel, let me first welcome you to this amazing podcast, our webinar that you're having today. And before we proceed, in our midst, we have the founders of Freedom International Schools Africa. So the founders of Freedom International Schools Africa, just out of respect, I request the co-founder, Dr. Oderi and Engineer Oku to say hi, and then we proceed.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm so excited to have our parents who have trusted us with their children to speak about the school. I'm not the one speaking or Oku, but they are the, let's say, proof of the pudding is in the eating. They are the eating. So thank you so much. And karibuni sana. Welcome.
Thank you. And everybody welcome to this great webinar. And let's give it our best. And let us share the goodness of what we receive. That's all I'm saying. Thank you very much. Welcome.
Thank you so much, our director, and for those warm remarks. We are not going to waste a lot of time. We're just going to dig deeper and to understand why we are here, just getting testimonials from the parents who have been here. And we have an amazing panel that is going to talk to us today. It's going to discuss about FISA. I'll start with introducing them. So the first one, we have Gadhu Wainaina, or rather Titus Gadhu, who is a father in Freedom International School Africa. In fact, he is the first parent in FISA, and he's still here up to date. So he's father to Madea. Madea is in MYP3, and Muigai Gadhu is in PYP2. He is also a banker and founder and the owner of Clickora, which is a Kenya digital marketplace. Welcome so much, Mr. Titus Gadhu. Then we have Wanjiko Belknap, okay, who is the mother to Thomas James Belknap, who is in MYP5 by September. She's a registered nurse in Central Valley in California. Okay, she's joining us today. Then also we have Wangoi Madaru, who is a proud mother to Makena Madaru, who is now in PYP5 come September, a lifelong learner, and someone who believes that the greatest gift we can give our children is to know who they are. Then we have Shami Mzee, who is a mother to Shazia. Shazia is in MYP4 come September. And yes, she is an educationist and a proud mother of Shazia. Then we have Miss Lillian Akumu Arika, who is mother to Robin Agengo Ochieng. Agengo is the pioneer class, the MYP5 who are going to DP1 come September, this coming September. So she is a chief magistrate and a registrar for the Kenya Judiciary Academy. Welcome so much. Then we also have Nehanda Sankofa, who is the mother to Kundasai Mbandaka, who is a prospective student at FISA. She's a community organizer and the founder of Sankofa Rising. And lastly, but not the least, we have Wangoi Kamau, who is the mother to George, who is now in MYP1 in September, and Getty, who is also joining PYP4 come September. She's a junior manager, LR Health and Beauty System in Germany, and a team leader in Bavaria for the Bavaria team. Welcome so much, our panel, and we are so glad to have you here today. Welcome so much. Thank you so much. And yes, for the audience that are there, we'll have some time for your questions at the end. So you can type your questions from the chats. If you have any question about the school, if you have any question to the parent who is speaking, kindly put them in the chat. We'll be looking at them and then they'll be answered as we proceed. Thank you. Thank you so much. So we are going to start our panel. I see people are already asking questions in the chats. They'll be responding to. Thank you so much. We are just going to start with our question. And let me begin with Ms. Wanjiku Belknap. Okay, you have been in the West Coast, of the United States. Where you're joining us from California, one of the most educationally competitive place in the entire world, where there are top universities, elite schools, and the list just goes on, yeah? So what convinced you that sending your child all the way to FISA in Africa, or rather in Kenya, was a better investment in future than just the top schools that are there in USA where you are? How would you say about that, Wanjiku?
Good question. Good question. So for me, I would say what drew me to FISA was I was trying to find something that would be good for my son at his age. He's almost 16, and I felt like he was at the age where he needs to be in a place where he understands where he comes from. He knows his culture. So I was doing some research from here, and then I talked to my sister. She was doing research back there at home. So she brought the idea of FISA. She went and checked it out, and she loved what she saw. So here is my answer, okay? It felt as though even though Thomas was going to a good school in California, it was no longer meeting his needs as a young African man. I wanted him to have a chance to grow, to learn, and to fully embrace his roots, his traditions, and his beautiful culture. It was also a safety choice because unfortunately, California or the USA is no longer safe for people of our color. And I didn't want him to grow up feeling unsafe because of the color of his skin. I've always raised him to be bold, confident, and proud of our African culture. And thank God for FISA. Because for me and for my son, the school embodied everything we were looking for and so much more. I can tell the impactful differences the amazing mentors are having on my son. He is excelling, as well as learning to think critically and independently. It provides a strong sense of identity, of belonging and positive representation, and also leadership skills, and it nurtures kids' talents, which also prepares the students to thrive in diverse colleges and workplaces. He's been to a lot of wonderful schools here, a lot of nice Christian private schools, but right now, honestly, I feel like we found the one. And my biggest regret is, why didn't I know about FISA earlier? Because if I had known about FISA, he would have never even come to a school here. But he's there now, and I'm very grateful. So very, very grateful and happy with the choice that we made.
Nice. That you are willing to forgo whatever is happening in California, the level of education there, to come to FISA, where the students will have authentic self-identity, authentic education, true history, and everything. Thank you so much, Delphine.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to proceed to the next panelist. Okay, Gado Enaina, who I said at the beginning that he's the first person. Okay. The first person to come, or the first parent to join Freedom International School. He believed in the vision before anyone, and he's still here. So, Gado, my question is that you live right here in Kenya. There are so many great local schools to choose from here in Nakuru and also in Kenya generally. What made you choose, or what made you decide that IB education and this Afrocentric one that you're offering in our school was worth it for your child, rather than the traditional Kenyan curriculum or the one that is normal in other Kenyan schools? Mr. Gado.
Thank you. Thank you, Baraka. It all starts with the search, because the first thing is searching for a school that fits your child. So what I was looking for, I don't know if you, Teacher Baraka, you've read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And that book, you have, eh? So the poor dad is very educated, actually, but he's termed as the poor dad. Actually, he's the father of Robert Kiyosaki is the writer.
Robert Kiyosaki,
And
yes.
yes. You know, he's very educated, and actually he was the head of education in their country. Yes, he was employed. So in my search, I didn't want to have educated children, but poor in other things like poor in wealth, poor in reasoning, poor in ways of life, poor in reasoning, all that. I wanted children who are educated, but holistically. So in my search, I met my colleague told me that there is a presentation that is happening at Matfarm, and they are proposing to start a school. So I just wanted to attend and see what they are talking about. And when I went, I found Dr. Oku, Engineer Oku, presenting. And the first thing I heard from engineer was the power of the mind. Actually, was presenting about how our children absorb information, and they absorb generally how their mind is well created to absorb this information. So I was thinking, I want a school where my children will be holistic in what they learn. Actually, I didn't want us, in fact, I don't know if you have ever heard Oku presenting. He actually tells us that, or he was comparing in that venue, what our children in Kenya learn and what children in other countries learn, like the advanced civilizations like China and the rest. He was telling us that they take coding, they solve real problems, their skills are way above our children. And I could resonate with that, because what we learned in 844 system in Kenya, I think when we were in class 1 or in kindergarten, we only learned about 1 to 3, maybe to 10, ABC, maybe to Z. That is actually what we want. But teacher Engineer Oku was telling us that the power of the mind and how the brain cells absorb information, and if they are not fed, how they end up dying. So having attended that meeting, I went out and said that is the school I want to take my children to, because they were promising us that our children will go to a school where they will learn about coding, they will learn about all those things, about everything holistically, but most importantly about Afrocentrism, because also they are great international schools, as you have said, but none is Afrocentric. And I wanted my children to learn about learning who they are, accepting their skin color, and yes, feeling proud about themselves. So the other thing is that he said that our children will be great. So that was also something that I moved on. So as early as the school was being built, actually it was a construction site when I visited, I had already seen and bought their mission and vision of the school. So then we joined, the school was giving 844 system, but still the promise that they had given us, the promise of them coding, you could see the children were being given laptops when they were still in kindergarten. We could see that my son started telling me about probability and learning about probability before he was off kindergarten.
We want to go to another parent who is in London, England, Nehanda Sankofa, who is joining us from England. It's a city that is, some of the most prestigious IB schools are there. And you can tell us, Nehanda, what made you choose FISA over now staying in UK? And how do you think now your child, for your information, this is a parent whose kid she wants the kid to join us, okay? How do you think your child will benefit from this Afrocentric education that we have, while still enjoying that globally recognized IB curriculum? You can tell us, Nehanda.
Greetings, everyone. Why I choose FISA, or looking at FISA? Well, for the UK, it's my son. He's 8 years old. The UK, if we're watching the news, it's the West, and they're not very favorable of young Black children, much less than Black boys. So it's a very hostile educational environment, as far as I am concerned. So I was always looking for something to support my child. We homeschool presently. I have an older daughter. I homeschooled her. She did spend some time in her primary school years in the school system, but that school was more community-based, and it had more representation of us, and not just in the physical, but in the mental capacity, in terms of Black people who was passionate about teaching. So when my son came, I knew he wasn't going to be in the education system here. However, COVID happened, and in terms of socialization being important, he did start his early years here. But I knew, again, he was going to be out quickly, and I took him out because the signs of what I know exist started to appear. So I've always been researching for schools that speak to us and that are African-centered in their orientation, but understanding that the system that we're in, even on the continent, it can be challenging to find, or in the Caribbean even. So when Google recording all data, so FISA just came up in one of my searches. So again, I went down in the deep dive, and every single post I saw of FISA continued to warm my heart. I think I was watching you for about 3 months before I told my partner, I think I found a school. And then I made contact with the headmistress, and then she was everything I expected her to be, because I could see the love for ourselves authentically, the African-centeredness. That was the beginning of the winner for me. But when you're that way inclined, you automatically know that you have to love the children. You have to love the children. You have to see the children as your own, and then the rest will follow in that sense. And yeah, every single time I speak to our headmistress, she's always warm, she's always loving. And anytime I see her speaking, she's just very consistent in that way. But every time I'd be watching clips or videos of the children's work, what they're doing, the development of the building, it's just continuously exceeding my expectations. So I said, well, I have to buy a plane ticket. I have to get there immediately to see if this is what it's supposed to be. And I send it as well to my friends and my family and anyone who's asking if we're talking about future plans. I send it so I can say, okay, you look at it in case I'm being, too excited. I need other eyes. And everyone says, well, yeah, it looks good. I can see why. Yeah, I can see why you would. And for my son in particular, we're quite we are African-centered. And I recognize that when we talk about a village, it's very real. Me and his dad, my partner, we're not enough. Even if we have family and friends, it's not enough. Especially when we're homeschooling. So I was very conscious of the fact that he's at that critical age. Socialization is even more important. How community is evolving here is it's just become very isolated since COVID. and I want to be on the continent as well. I want to connect with my brothers and sisters on the continent. I want to build on the continent, and I want my son to be able to witness and see himself and us in our fullness, if that makes sense. And yeah, and then everything that FISA offers is just, again, it just continues to tick boxes. So yeah, I'm very excited for my trip, my coming trip next month, to visit the school. We speak about it daily. And yeah, that was my decision. That's the reason why I'm coming.
Wow, that's super impressive. That's so super impressive, and I can just tell you that someone is saying here that you've just found your tribe. It's so impressive to see that even when you're in the diaspora, you're still seeing the impact of the things that are happening in FISA, the level of education, but most importantly, the Afrocentrism. You know, if you're Afrocentric, it just comes out naturally. You feel it, you know. And thank you for making that decision, and thank you for trusting FISA to be part of your future journey as a parent here. Thank you so much. Thank you. Because of time, let me welcome the next panelist, okay, who is Mama McKenna, okay, joining us, I think, from Iowa, which is also in America, a place that has a very different pace and a very different cultural experience, comparing it to Kenya here. So now, Mama McKenna, how was the FISA's philosophy of being Afrocentric or rooted in Africa and being globally minded, given your child, which is McKenna, broader worldview, you know, that you felt that they simply won't get back there, or they cannot get what they are getting in FISA back in Iowa in USA. McKenna.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Afternoon and evening, wherever you are. When I was asked that question, I realized that the best way to answer it wasn't about talking about the curriculum or the philosophy, but talking about my daughter. Because as parents, that's how we measure a school. It's not what's written on the brochure, but how our children are becoming. As parents, we all hope that our children will do well academically. We want them to pass exams. We want them to go to universities. We want them to have successful careers. But if I ask anyone on this panel and those who are listening, what you truly want for your child 20 years from now, I don't think the answer will be grades. I think most of you will say, I want my child to know who they are. I want my child to be kind. I want my child to have confidence. And I want my child to make positive difference in the world. That to me is a FISA philosophy uprooted in Africa and globally minded. Becomes very powerful. I like to use proverbs, and as I'm telling you, I'll be just sharing a lot. A tree without roots cannot stand. And that's a proverb that perfectly captures what FISA is. Before our children can confidently face the world, they need strong roots. They need to know who they are. They need to know where they come from. And that's what matters. I'll share a conversation that I had with my daughter that showed me just how deeply these roots were beginning to grow with her. Her cousins had come back to Kenya. And obviously, from being overseas, their accents were different. And so McKenna started imitating them and trying to be more like them. Then after being in FISA for one term, she looked at me one day and she said, Mom, I don't know why I was trying to be like them. And as a parent, I leaned in and asked her what she meant. And she said, I'm proud of who I am. I'm an African. And so those words stayed with me. She wasn't criticizing her cousin.
Wow.
They're wonderful children. She loves them deeply. But what had changed was something much deeper. She was no longer felt that she needed to compare herself with someone else. And she no longer believed that becoming someone else was what made her belong. She had begun to embrace herself. And this is through the affirmations that FISA does for the children. And as a parent, I cannot tell you how meaningful that moment was, considering that she was less than 9 years old at that time when she said that. And because our children are growing up in a world that's constantly encouraging comparison, social media tells them to compare, society tells them to compare. Sometimes even some schools intentionally encourage comparison. But somewhere along the way, my daughter stopped asking, how can I be like someone else? And she started asking, who am I becoming? I believe that shift came because FISA is intentionally helping our children to understand that Africa is not simply a place on a map. It's a continent with wisdom, a continent of innovation, a
Wow.
continent of resilience, and a
Yes.
continent whose stories deserve to be told. And
Yes.
most importantly, a continent whose children should grow up believing they have something valuable to contribute. When our children understand that, something remarkable happens. They stop seeking validation. They begin living with purpose. And so, like I said, I'm going to be sharing another proverb. No matter how long the river flows, it
It's
never
true.
forgets its source.
I
That is
agree.
exactly what rooted in Africa, globally minded means to me. It means that our children can travel anywhere in the world, study anywhere, work anywhere, lead anywhere, but they never forget where they come from. And because they know where they come from, they can confidently engage with everyone from any culture without losing themselves. I'm going to share another story that happened not long after that. She came home and she told me, my classmates say I'm rich. At first, I have to admit that I was disturbed by that. And she repeated it again. And so I asked her, what were you doing that made them say that you're rich? And she said, I was helping one of my schoolmates. And so they told me that I'm rich. It got me thinking, here it is that people at FISA are encouraging children to help one another instead of being concerned about the latest iPhone, the latest clothes that we're wearing. They're being taught that being rich means being generous. It means sharing. It means helping your classmates. It means noticing when someone needs support. And I remember thinking, what a beautiful definition of wealth. It got me thinking of another FISA pillar, and that's Ubuntu. It means that we are, you know, because you are, in our humanity towards others. That philosophy, of course, teaches the children about being connected. So they're lifting one another. Success is not just for themselves, but it's for everyone. I believe FISA is nurturing that spirit. My daughter is learning that leadership is not about being above others, but leadership is about serving others. She's learning kindness is strength and generosity is wealth. That character happens just as much as achievements. These lessons will stay with her long after she's forgotten all the textbook facts that she could ever learn. And that's what impresses me most about FISA, is preparing our children for the world that's constantly changing. Now my daughter does not ask me how to do something. She's constantly curious about cultures. She's asking for solutions instead of simply looking for answers. She's learning how to think, not just learning, right? And that is one of the greatest gifts that we can offer. I'll share my last proverb. Wisdom is like a baobab tree. No one person can embrace it alone. That reminds us that learning is collaborative, which they do in the school. Our children will learn from Africa. They also learn about Asia, Europe, and America, and every other part of the world. They can appreciate different perspectives and they can work with people from different backgrounds. But they should never forget they have what they have in terms of their identity, even as they're becoming global citizens. In fact, I believe that when you know yourself, it makes you a better global citizen. Because when you are secure in your own identity, you're less threatened by the difference. You become more curious. You become more respectful. You're willing to listen. You become more willing to learn. That's a broader, wide view that I see developing in my daughter. Finally, this is one of the African proverbs that beautifully captures what I hope every FISA child carries into adulthood. If we go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. The world doesn't simply need more intelligent people. It needs compassionate leaders. It needs people who solve problems. It needs people who build communities. It needs people who know who they are and who use their gifts to serve others. When my daughter told me how proud she was, I knew she was finding her roots. When she told me her classmates called her rich because she helped others, I knew those were roots that were bearing fruit. To me, these two moments capture everything FISA stands for. So today, when you ask me what rooted in Africa globally means, my simple answer is it means raising children who know where they come from and who are confident in who they are and who embrace the richness of Africa while engaging openly in the world, and who understand that true success is measured not only by what they achieve, by who they serve. And so I'll leave you with this, that I'll say again, FISA is redefining success for our children. In every place, richness is measured by your own. FISA richness is measured by who you become. If our children leave the school believing kindness, wealth, identity, and strength, service is leadership, then I believe that they're not only prepared to succeed in the world, but they're going to change it. So thank you for your time.
Wow, 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 wow. That is exceptional. That is brilliant. I feel like I'm clapping for you. The way you have eloquently explained the experience, and it's good, and it feels very real because you are explaining us about your kid, the transformation that you have seen in your child. That's super amazing. And you have mentioned just a few things that I'll just love to add on. That was so powerful. You have talked about the foundation, the foundation that FISA gave your kid even as early as she was. You say that the FISA principles and also the IB learner profile, you see the student is caring, and all those things that your child is able to manifest, is able to showcase even at that young age. I'm so proud of McKenna as well. And when you were talking, it reminded me one thing about FISA, how we are so intentional when it comes with Afrocentrism, that even the culture changes. Even when someone comes, you are taught how to be proud of yourself, your African name. That's why if you see anyone from FISA here, you say like you don't have to use the English names. Okay, you're supposed to be proud. When you go to other in the previous or in other schools, if you say your name is Mwangi, your name is Baraka, your name is Maina, your name is Omondi, you are somehow shunned. But we teach them, be proud of your African name, be proud of your identity. And when you're proud of yourself, no one will ever change your mind. You will be a ruler wherever you're going to go. That was so powerful, Mama McKenna. I appreciate you. Thank you. With that, we are going to proceed to Mama Shazia. I like the way, as Dr. Dedi says in the chat, that our parents are teaching us back. I'm even learning more. It's amazing. I like the Afrocentrism that in our parents, and it continues like that. I'm so proud of McKenna and Mama McKenna. Mama Shazia, I'm coming back to you now. You personally, you made a specific choice of even the boarding option. You brought your kid early on, I remember, and now she's even in the boarding in FISA. with the boarding option available, yeah, what give you the confidence, to entrust FISA not only with the academics, the classwork and everything, but now the daily character development, the development of your kid and the well-being. Mama Shazia, how can you say about that?
Thank you very much, Teacher Baraka. Good evening, everyone. My name is Shamim, or Mama Shazia, as you have been told, an MYP3 student at FISA Freedom International Schools Africa. I'm glad to be part of this panel and to share my authentic experience. I want to start by saying that I was really a frustrated parent before I got to know FISA. One thing was because every time I would prepare Shazia to go to school, she didn't look very happy. She looked very sad. Sometimes she would even cry. And to make matters worse, her academics were also wanting. There was no motivation at all. And I remember it was during a midterm holiday when I just decided I think enough is enough. I had just transferred her to the second school, and I thought she was not just getting enough of what I expected as a parent. For us, making the best decision to get her a good school was the best thing we could ever do at that point. And I remember calling a colleague in one of our education offices here in Nakuru, and shared my frustration, and I asked her to check for me the analysis of the school performances for the slower, because by then she was in grade 1, performance for the schools, so that I would get the best school and to take my child, and where I would feel my child would be comfortable. And luckily, the first school she mentioned to me was Children in Freedom School. Apparently, I had not heard of the school, and actually, she didn't even also know where it was. And I went hunting for the direction. And the first person I think I met really talked very good things about the school. And out of curiosity, I decided to visit the school. That is when I met Udheri and shared about my interest. And we agreed that she does the interview. But what really caught my attention was when I brought Shazia for the interview, because my plan was to let her maybe finish the term in the former school, because we had already cleared school fees for that term in where she was schooling, and maybe we were just planning for the next term. But when I came to pick her, because I was told to just leave her and pick her in the evening, when I came for her, she told me, "Mom, you know what? I want to be in this school, and I'm coming here even tomorrow." So I was a bit confused, but I made a decision right there, and I assured her that I would bring her the following day. And I remember she came to school without a school uniform because it was so abrupt, and that is how she started. And somehow along the way, I realized her enthusiasm had really grown. She loved going to school. She talked very good things about her school. She was really excited about her school. She would share, about her school to every visitor that came home, every relative that came home. And I noted something very funny. I would not wake her up in the morning. She would already be up even before time. And I really thought that there was something that was really happening in the child. What I later came to learn was that there was a lot of love and affirmation in the school. The teachers are very friendly, very lovely. And she later on insisted, of course, with time, I also noticed that even her performance in academics had also improved. And with time, she insisted she wanted to be in boarding. I remember she really pleaded for a few terms, and we agreed. And I remember making a joke sometimes later to ask her whether she would want to be in day school, and she refused. Because I think she enjoys the company in the school, the love, the food is okay. They eat just like any other child at home. The food they eat is okay. I have never had a complaint about the food. Everything else is okay. There's warm water to shower. They are mentored over the weekends and so many other activities. And since I felt like she was really enjoying learning, and what for me I was looking was not just a school that would improve her academics. I was looking at a school that would help her become confident in whom she is or in who she is, appreciate herself, and stir her curiosity, and even maybe instill in her values that she would use for a lifetime. Today, Shazia is totally a completely different person from the person I brought to Freedom International Schools on the first day. So it is really, really amazing to see the paradigm shift that has happened to her as a result of the family, the togetherness, and the love that actually she has experienced in the school.
Thank you. That was amazing, Mama Shazia. And you have mentioned a very important thing. And the good thing is that I know Shazia very well. The way right now she's confident, she's able to speak in front of people confidently and all that. And let me give someone flowers. Dr. Derry, when I think even myself, when I came to this school, Dr. Derry has that, and it has infiltrated even to the teachers, even myself. You find that she is so, normally in our schools, you will find that the teachers were rigid, they were stiff, they don't want to interact with the kids very well. But you see Dr. Odari everywhere. The kids, they see her, they run to her, they hug her, they show love because they can feel it, they can sense it. And that's something that has also transformed, even to same to Engineer Okude, same. Even myself, when I am in these classes, you see the students are coming, they are super excited. There's that love. They know this is a safe space, They know this is a place where this teacher likes me, this teacher wants what is best for me. And that relationship is very, very, very important. It builds the confidence, and also not only confidence, also discipline in the learner. And I can confidently say I've seen Shazia even grow to the intelligent girl she is, and it's so amazing to hear it from the mother. And I'm sorry about the hassle that you went through in your previous school, but at least you found a good place where Shazia can thrive, and I'm glad she's thriving very well. Thank you so much, Mama Shazia.
Thank you.
If I may ask a follow-up question to you, just a brief one. How do you feel like Afrocentrism has helped Shazia in a way? Just a follow-up question.
Well, for an education that is rooted in culture, has seen Shazia appreciate her identity, appreciate who she is, and also I have seen her develop a respect for other cultures and appreciate other cultures. I would give a very good example. We are Muslims and we are used to doing pilau and biryani. And since FISA entrenches Afrocentrism in the school, teaching children how to appreciate their culture and instilling in them cultural values, we have also at our home adapted the same by ensuring that even the foods we eat are organic, are traditional, are African, but not only from our communities. We incorporate food from all the communities. Shazia will comfortably eat mrenda. Shazia will comfortably eat, drink mursik. We would do ugali ya wimbi, for example. She will comfortably do it. And all the food we serve on our table is organic. So that has not only helped us as a family, but it has also helped her to embrace other cultures in the process of also appreciating her culture and identity. It has also given her confidence and a lot of resilience. And even us as a family, we have been able to learn how to appreciate our identity and culture as parents. Personally, I'm sorry for that. It's time for prayer, I think. Sorry. I'm already changing my wardrobe, for example, to ensure that I incorporate African wear. So other than her, it has had a ripple effect even to our family. We find ourselves now only talking organic. I find myself, for example, joining anything that is talking about organic or natural or African. For example, I'm a member of the Alternative Justice Systems in Nakuru, which is really embracing the organic way of resolving cases out of court. And I'm one of the members of the Court Users Committee in Nakuru. So other than that, we have also seen this extend to our extended families. When we invite them to come to school, they really appreciate what they see happening. And this has really enhanced a sense of community, a sense of togetherness. In fact, based on the activities, we usually have the grandmothers, the grandparents' day, cultural days, and all the other activities that we usually have in the school. It has also assisted us as a family to collaborate very well with the school. Shazia and us feel very, very, we are like conjoined twins with the FISA. Anything that the school does, any celebration it has, anything that it does, we feel part of it. We celebrate together. We share in their joy when they are joyful. We share in their celebrations when they are. And I remember the recent award, the global award that FISA got from the Vaki Foundation. Remember, I trusted we saw the vision of the school even before they acquired or they got the international award, and seeing it today being celebrated as a leading school not only tells the world what we as parents are experiencing in the school, but is also confirming that a school can be rooted in culture and still be able to deliver global excellence or world-class education. And that is something that for us to have even gotten the award, because let me say us, because we own the school, and it is something that the world is celebrating and what the world is actually appreciating. Being able to balance that, being locally rooted and being celebrated globally is something that I think many educators around the world are striving to achieve.
Wow, that is well answered, and I like the fact that you mentioned how the school is influencing your family and also even the extended family. It's just it just trickles down, yeah, and I'm glad it is doing that. And also just to mention about religion, the way our school has the open religion culture, we accommodate anyone from any religion. We are not biased in terms of religion, race, or anything, but we are committed to ensuring that you know yourself, you know where you came from, you know your culture, and you love yourself for who you are, your skin color, and everything. Thank you so much, Mama Shazia. And I'm so proud of the journey that you've come. You have come from far, and at least we are going far together with FISA. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, on to the next panelists. I'm going to Phyllis Wangoi, or mother to George and Getty. So yes, back there in Germany, that country is also known for its rigorous and structured education system, and I think it's highly respected there. Now, if I may ask you, Phyllis, what specific skills or mindset are your children developing at FISA that you feel that the German system itself wouldn't have given them, and how does that make them future ready? Looking at the world now in a futuristic sense of view.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to talk about FISA and what it has done to my children, who are both born and brought up in Germany. Well, Germany is a very good country and it has a very high-class education, but it's very focused on nationality. Like, they only teach in German, no other language. So a child is not even allowed to speak any other language, not even English, until the age of 10, when it's the 4th grade, where they start learning English. But the problem was not even the language. For me, My problem was during Corona, we had a total lockdown. We actually stayed for a whole year at home. And being a mother of 4 children, George and Getty are my youngest 2 children. Being locked down, we were not going to school. I was not going to work. During this time, I took an advantage and came back home because I'm born and brought up in Kenya, and came back home with all my 4 children. Then I saw that in Kenya, people are still going to school. It was business as usual. Of course, there are some kind of restrictions, like the distance, the washing of hands and everything, but it was not a total lockdown like in my country, back in Europe. And then the other thing was, my children happened to be the minority in the whole school. They were the only Black children, not in class, not in their group or area, but in the whole school and where we live. And since they are the only Black children, they always used to ask me, Mom, why don't we look like the other children? They don't like us. They don't want to play with us. They say our skin is dirty. It looks like poo. A lot of discrimination, right from kindergarten to primary school, and also in workplaces. I've lived here for almost 30 years. So I've experienced this kind of discrimination and racism right from very young ages. That was one of the points I said, do I really want to bring up my children in this area, in this atmosphere? So during Corona, I happened to watch a BBC World Africa about children. That time the school was called Children in Freedom School, about children in Freedom School, an Afrocentric school. And then it was right in Lanet. My mother is in Joro, not so far in Egerton. So I said, how comes I don't know about this school? I've always been aiming to bring my kids in school in Kenya, but I've always been focusing more or less in Nairobi, in the German school in Nairobi. We were even there. The children did an interview, but it was the same case as in Germany. All the children, or most of the children, were mixed race children or white children. So my kids would be still the same case, the only Black children in this school. So I decided to write the letter to the school, an email, and teacher Oderi replied that email, and she gave me an appointment to go to school, because I told them I'm usually coming home often, like 3 or 4 times in a year. So I would like to visit the school personally and see how it is, especially for George, because George had just joined the 1st grade and he had to stay a whole year because he joined 1st grade in 2020 during Corona. Then it was a whole year lockdown. So he wasn't actually in school. So I decided to come to the school with George. And George could that time speak only one language, only German language, And I was wondering, how will this child cope? He doesn't even speak English, no Swahili, nothing. How will he even do the interview? And you can't imagine, the school was able to interview my son using an app, Duolingo or something like that. It would translate from German to English, and he would give his answers in German, and it will translate later to English, from German to English, and back and forth. And that was, for me, a very positive impression. The school was willing and able to interview this child who cannot speak English or Swahili, and to embrace the child, and that was a very positive, a very positive scenario for me, because the first thing in Germany, when they see a Black child, it doesn't matter if this child was born and brought up here. When they see a Black child, the first thing they ask at school, can he speak German? Can he understand us? You are already grouped they have already decided for you which kind of school you should visit, which kind of career you should follow, and which kind of work you should do at the end yeah, preferably maybe work in the factories or wherever. They start right from the kindergarten, you know, because the system here is not like they do big exams and then they decide. The teachers decide at the 4th grade, at the age of 10, which career your child should do, yeah? And most of the Black children, even if they're born and brought up here, they are always put in, you know, these hand, like technical careers, you know, like they work in factories or they become like, you know, low-paying jobs, let me put it like that. But the careers that are high-paying jobs, they're not even put in the first place in such schools, in such high schools. They are already, at the age of 10, they have already put their path, which direction to go. So that was one of the things that made me like FISA. And the other thing was the idea of the IB. My kids were in IB school, even here in Germany. But the IB school was also very, yeah, they were also the minority. Let me put it like that, the big children, they're also the minority. So during this transition time, during Corona, I also decided for my other big boys to leave Germany, but they still stayed in Europe, in another country, with their father, with their German father. Because that time, children in Freedom School, it didn't have the upper classes. They are much more older than George and Katie. So, and my son, Kamau, who graduated at MYP5 this summer, he also follows FISA. And he said, Mom, our school is not like your school. I wish your school had that time my class. I could have joined George and Getty in this school. He just saw that the party at Sarova, the attire, you know, and he could just compare and say, we just had a normal graduation, Mama, and we're in Europe and we are paying much more than Kenya, and our school was not so high class like your school. So that speaks volumes, you know. The kids can also see the difference between the IB schools in Europe and the IB school in Kenya. And everybody says, hey, George and Katie, you are so lucky you're in such a school. You're having a high class education, and it's also you're having your identity, yeah, because my children used to ask me, Mom, how comes we are Germans, you know, citizens, but we are Black? So this identity is very, very important. And if a child doesn't have an identity, if a child doesn't know where he comes from, he lacks also the value of himself. And since my children are in this school, they know they're African. Before even they were born in Europe and wherever, German citizenship, they know they're Africans. And they are very proud of being Africans. They know their roots. They know now 6 different languages. Within 2 or 3 years, my kids who could only speak one language can now speak 6 different languages, including French, including Mandarin, including Swahili, English, you know, and Kikuyu, yeah, which is very, very important. And I would encourage each and every parent, especially the diaspora community, children who are born and brought up in Europe or in America or anywhere else which is not in Africa. And we are the African children, the African parents who are born and brought up. They should bring the kids back to our motherland. Let the children start from the roots, know their culture, know the language, at the same time get the best IB curriculum, school system, and then they can later explore in other countries. Because with 6 languages is of course an advantage as having just one language, which makes them just be, you know, they're just national, they're just here. They can only go to Austria, Switzerland, and stay in Germany. But now with 6 languages, they can go everywhere. The wings are open for them. They have more opportunities, and they are also very confident. And they also teach other children. Like now I see George and Getty, when they come back to Germany, they teach their friends, You know, we don't do that. We don't do this. They make their beds. They are much responsible and mature compared to the same age group of the kids who they were left here in Germany. So I would like to thank FISA so much for trusting on my guts, yeah, and taking kids who cannot even speak any other language apart from the German language. And I'm a very big ambassador to our school, and I'll always be an ambassador to our school, even beyond, not only in Germany, but beyond. So thank you so much. And if anybody has a question, especially those who are in Europe, especially in Germany, they can reach me through the school.
Thank you. That is amazing. Thank you, Mama Getty and George. You have mentioned a few things. I have seen George, even myself, I've seen George grow into the student who is doing work very well, learning how to speak English, learning how to learn, learning Swahili and everything. And you have mentioned the part where your son said our school is even cheaper. In fact, it's the most affordable IB world school in I think in the world. You know, even when you compare it to the neighboring like schools, IB world schools, you find that we offer quality, but at a subsidized fee because we want the students to we want IB to all the Afrocentrism to reach people all over Africa, everyone. Yeah, even those people who feel like they don't have much, we are able to reach out to them. And if you want to ask more about the fee structure, I think the cost structure can be shared by the chats by one of the leaders here. Yes, thank you, Mama George. I have a very important question for you about boarding. You know, your parent who is away. What made you entrust FISA with your young kids? Getty is in PYP 4 next term, or that is year 4. George is in year 6 or MYP 1 next term. What made you entrust FISA that when you are far away in Germany, that you're able to you're trusting them to take care of your kid in matters of health, matters of discipline? How has it changed the life of your students, and how is it going?
Well, first of all, my children didn't join boarding immediately. I tried first to get an apartment near the school where they were living at first with the relatives. Then later I took a house help to stay with them. And after, I think it was just 2 years, since 2022 to 2024, within a span of 2 years, we have moved 3 times. So security reasons, our house was also broken down because during summer holiday, I usually pick my children and come back with them to Germany. And then it's like they already knew that these people are not around for a whole 2 or 3 months. And it was broken into by burglars. So for security reasons, I decided my children will now stay in school because the security in school is number one. No child leaves that school. CCTV is everywhere. My kids feel very comfortable. At first, George didn't want to go to boarding. So I said, let's first visit the boarding facility. We see how they sleep, if there's hot water. He was very much concerned about hot water because he knows by grandmother's place, there's not hot water running from the bathroom tap or from the shower. So that was the picture he had about Kenya. And when we came to the school, he saw, hey, kumbe, there is hot water, there is hot shower, there are comfortable beds. There are people taking care of them. Actually, my children are the youngest in boarding, but they love the school. They feel secured. They have learned even to start washing their clothes kidogo kidogo, you know. At first, you know, they have always been using washing machine. Before even I brought them the washing machine, they were washing their clothes, their socks. They started washing their small socks and maybe the underwears. And the matron and patron were really helping them to wash the rest of the clothes. And I'm very, very grateful because this is also an opportunity for a child to learn to be more independent Yeah. Now my children, even when they come back to Germany, every child has his own bedroom. When they wake up, they make their own bed. They vacuum clean their own rooms. They know how to arrange their clothes the same way they arrange in their lockers in boarding school. Now they arrange their clothes. I don't have to go and start arranging for them and making their bed like before. So that's also another positive way that to show that these children are not only learning academically, they are also improving in their own life system, normal, the normal development, child development, yeah, is also improving. They can take care of themselves. They can, they shower by themselves. They know the time to go to bed. I don't have to tell them now, put off the TV or put on the computer. They already know. Even they told me, mom, at school by 8 p.m. you're already in bed. Yeah. We don't stay so long until 9 or 10 p.m. So they have, let's say, a structured, their lifestyle is very structured as compared before they joined FISA. Their life, or let's say their day-to-day activities was not so structured as now when they join FISA, and they're able to bring that back home even during school holidays. They have a very structured lifestyle. They know when they wake up, first they brush their teeth, they wash their face, and then they know how to even help each other at home, even with homework, or it's not like, yeah, everybody for his own, God for us all. That's the German system. Here, nobody cares about even the neighbor. Even if I hear somebody screaming, I don't even bother to go and check what's happening. That's none of my business. Yeah, this is the way we are taught here. You don't poke your nose in other people's businesses. Yeah, but now they have learned that community, that Ubuntu. As Mama McKenna said, the Ubuntu spirit is implanted in them. And together, we are stronger as when you are alone. So that's another positive thing that has impacted in our lives, in the lives of our children.
Wow. Wow. That's so nice to hear. And I'm glad that you entrusted FISA with your young kids. Getty is a young girl and George is also a young boy. And now they are responsible young people that they can even do things on their own. That's so impressive. Yes, the audience, you are free to ask questions. If you have a question about FISA, you can type them there. Then we'll be answering them as we proceed. So feel free to type any question that you have, whether directing to Mama Getty or any panelists or even to the school directly. We'll be glad to answer your questions. Thank you so much. And now I want to go to the last panelist. Okay, I want us to go to the last panelist, which is who is Mama Agengo, and she is joining us from Nairobi, okay, which is Kenya's capital city for those who don't know. And if you know Kenya, Nairobi is the school that is a city that has a lot of international schools in Kenya. It has what we can call enough options. Yeah, there are so many schools that you could have chosen from. What was one thing, Mama Gengo, that FISA offered that none of those Nairobi schools could, and how did that tip the skill for your family that now you decided, now I want my students to come to FISA? Mama Gengo, over to you.
Thank you so much, Teacher Baraka and the FISA fraternity. Allow me to just speak from my heart and not be contained. So first I want to give a shout out to the parent who introduced me to Children in Freedom, as it was then called, Honorable Yvonne Katambi. I know she's in the meeting. So one day we were having a meeting at where we work, and it was approaching 5 o'clock, and she said, hey, I need to go and talk to Madam Uderi and just call and tell her that I'm getting late. The child should have been picked at 4 and it's heading to 5. So I asked her, which school is that? Then she said Children in Freedom. And I'd seen the buses passing. So I asked her, what is it about the school? So just looking at the excitement with which she spoke about the school, saying they're learning Mandarin, Afrocentrism. And she just told me, in short, you just go and see the school. So this is a background where I was working in Nakuru. My family is in Nairobi. Agengo had missed school for almost 2 terms. He was unwell, he's not going to school, he'd go for 4 days. just no interest in school. And there's nothing as painful as you can see a child is brilliant, but is not going to school. It's heading maybe towards truancy, or you don't know what will happen. So I took time, went to the school, and I normally believe the best way to know a school is to go when the children are there. There's a lot you observe just by looking at the children. So the first time I went, I noticed the first thing that he was in a very good, one of the leading schools in Nairobi. So school was not an issue. So I noticed that the classes are named after African queens and kings, some African queens that I had never heard of. And my mind was just blown. And then there was a signboard in the office. I forget the exact words, but it said something like, we are preparing our African children to be future world leaders now. That again blew my mind. And I asked, no wonder when my colleague on Rabatambi was talking, she was so bubbly. You could see it in her eyes, the excitement. You can never really explain what school it is. So within 10 minutes of being there, my mind was made up. I have to transfer my son, but I said I have to talk to the dad. So eventually when the dad came, I think for him within 5 minutes, he said, this is the school that we need. And so I'm speaking to those parents who work in different places. You work for a period, and then when your tour of duty is done, you have to go to a different place. So you transfer your child and then transfer in Akuja. So for me, as fair to David, he came in April. Then June, no, beginning of July, I was given an opportunity to come and work in Nairobi. So I said, now my son has been in this school for 3 months and then he's going back with me to Nairobi. So when I asked him, he said, Mom, you're not even discussing. I will never get another school like this in the entire world. Me, I'm not going with you to Nairobi. They have a boarding facility. Put me in the boarding. In fact, he made his mind faster than me. And I took him to boarding on his birthday because I needed to, settle him and then move to to where I was going to work. And Madam Udheri told him, I was telling him, this is the last born, washing clothes, he doesn't know. I was told, bring him, he will learn with the others. And I made him wash clothes on a Friday, and took him to school on Sunday. I was told, don't even bother with preparing him. Let him come as he is. And he has thrived there very, very well. Now, when I took him, before he was admitted, before he went to boarding, Madam Udheri looked at him and told me, Mama Gengo, give me 1 year with this young man and you will see a big difference. I know what his problem is. And then Teacher Oku looked at him and said, and I'm saying this with humility, this boy is a genius. We know what to do to unlock his potential. So I'm looking at the two. I'm telling them my son has not gone to school for 2 terms. That's like almost 5 months. They know what they are saying. So the boy joined the school. The other thing that Teacher Udheri said is when she was in school, she used to be very bored. For those who are gifted and your mind is not fully engaged, she said she knows his other problem. When I said, okay, let me just say, he used to say, children are able differently. So by the time the teacher is explaining the same concept a third, fourth time, he got it the first time. So, what is this? Can't he just read his books? See, he will understand. Now, why should he even be going to school? The teacher is explaining things that he understood. So when I told Teacher Udheri that's out of vulnerability, she said she knows the problem. So I felt these people actually understand what it is that I'm saying. And I did not even have to wait for 1 year to see. Within 2 months, I would see the difference. And you see, by the time I was being transferred back to Nairobi, is the child saying, I am not going to Nairobi. I am going to join the school in boarding. The other thing that we didn't, as parents, I don't know whether we realize it, but me, I realized it. The intentionality of words in that school. Teacher Oku in particular says the power of words, that parents, we are the ones who destroy our children's dreams. However crazy the ideas of your child is, do not limit your child. Let that child thrive. Agengo is one of those students who has accomplished many things. And some of the things he used to say he will do used to look crazy, and now he's doing them. From the age of 4, he wanted to be a chef. And there's no one in our family who is a chef. So you even wonder, where is that coming from? He has written 2 recipe books. He has 2 food websites. He has developed, I think, 4 apps. During business day, the children in their school, there's a business day. I don't think any parent has spoken about it, where children are given an opportunity to run a business for that day and earn money. In the last 2 years that he has done it, he has raised around a net profit of around 20,000 shillings. That will be around $165. For a 14-year-old, that is a child who is basically market ready. And let me stop there and request, I think, Teacher Mwangi, if you would please play a very short clip. It is 40 seconds, very short, but just listen to it. It will explain who it is that I'm talking about. Teacher Mwangi, are you ready?
IB, fear raising a child who never discovers what they're capable of. As this program doesn't just prepare students for the world, it prepares the world for our students. And Africa has always produced greatness. The IB simply gives that greatness on a global language. Don't keep your children small. The world is waiting for what they carry inside. The IB didn't make me who I am, showed me who I was always meant to be. Give your child that mirror, and I assure you, he definitely wants to regret it. Wow.
So the other thing that happens at FISA is you are never ready. When you think you have seen the best of the best, you get surprised. So I've learned that when we are in a meeting in the school, I am always recording, because you don't know what Teacher Oderi will say or Teacher Oku will say. And so this was a webinar where I think it was African region webinar, where we were talking about IB because it is new. And Agengo was given an opportunity to speak. So this is not scripted. And, watching him speak, I remember I was in Naivasha in a different town, he's in Nakuru in a different town. And because of the way the school is, I knew he will be able to speak. But I did not know he would say such words. That is why you can see it's only 40 seconds. I captured it towards the last few minutes. He was actually wrapping up. And so you can hear, I hope we will be able to watch it later. You can hear the intentionality of what he says. And I was left wondering, is this even my child? Because for me, IB and FISA has told us just what greatness is, So I started by saying I took a broken child to the school, and you can see now where the child is. And that is just the tip of the iceberg. So allow me to talk about another opportunity that the school gave. There is a summer camp in New York. It's called Camp Rising Sun. It's been there for many years. And Teacher Oderi, in her usual manner, asked people the children to apply. And so, and you were given a reminder. I remember Agengo applied towards the end. So one of the things was, by the time you're going to the camp, you're supposed to be 15 years old. But there was a small info there that if you're not yet 15, you can apply for an exemption. So Agengo applied, and he wrote very well. And so he was given an opportunity to now apply to be considered. So you have to explain why this summer camp is good for you. So you're supposed to be in New York in a camp for 1 month. Everything is fully paid. Maybe you pay a visa fee, and a bit of airfare. So he applied, and from over 1,000 applicants in the world, they only took, I think, 44 students for the boys' camp. And he was the only one from Kenya. And watching him, so there was a first written application, then later there was a virtual interview. And I was listening to him with Baba Genga, because it was then when the schools were closed. We were looking at ourselves like, is this our child? The things he answered. And I can see why he was taken. So this, when he says IB and by extension FISA, has made him realize what was in him, you can literally see it. So he went last year in New York, was there for a month. Then there was an opportunity for those who went last year. the 44, okay, so there's a boys camp and girls camp. So for the boys camp, there were 44. For those who went, the 44, you're given another opportunity to apply and say why you want to go as a second year camper. And what the second year campers do is they help the first year campers to settle, because you go there, you travel alone, you don't know anything about the US, for those who are not in the US. And they only took 7 students out of the 44 boys. And Agengo was one of the 7. And so you can see, we're not talking about theory, we're talking about what FISA has done. Now, let me talk about Ubuntu. So Dr. Oderi and Teacher Oku, because of the Ubuntu, they did not keep this opportunity to themselves. They shared with the students. And so Agengo was taken. So when Agengo went, when this year, it was open for people to apply, now Agengo and Teacher Oku were part of, I think Teacher Oderi, part of the international forum for receiving applicants to check who are the best. Of course, he was not part of those looking at the people from Kenya. But because of sharing and helping them prepare, one student is currently with him. They're in New York as we speak, in the 1-month summer camp. And a second student from FISA will be in a virtual, again, 1-month leadership course. So you see, Ubuntu, you share, it's human nature to, when something benefits you, you keep quiet with it. So here is an opportunity where, because of Ubuntu and sharing, other people are also able to benefit. And we're talking about a 15, 16-year-old who is doing all these things. I don't know whether I mentioned that we have a Grandparents' Day, which is a concept I'd never heard about. So when they say it takes a village to raise a child, when you went for the Grandparents' Day, and I know Agengo's grandma is in the meeting, the way people are embraced, and you see, it's not showbiz. They were given an opportunity to talk to the children, That is, again, something that is very, very unique. So the other thing that stood out for me in FISA is the intentionality of infusing the Afrocentrism in everything. When they were planting trees, they planted specifically African herbs. So I was watching a video and there were about 4 or 5 African herbs, that intentionality. We're not just planting trees. Even the way the classes are structured, there's a lot of Afrocentrism. The other thing about the school is, and I think another parent spoke about this, the children ran towards the administrators and the teachers. During our times, when you saw a teacher, you melted, you disappeared, because if the teacher sees you, you will be punished for no reason, just because you've been seen. These children, they ran towards Teacher Oderi, Teacher Oku, and all the other teachers. And I was saying, children don't pretend. For you to observe such a thing, it shows you something very big and very unique about the school. The other thing is Teacher Uderi knows each student by name. It is really very amazing. There's a parent who talked about it, that she loves the children. But you see, these students are not just, wanafunzi or students. She knows each student by name. So the love they feel is very, very special. I remember seeing a photo of one of the times Sagengo went back after school holiday. And she was there hugging, each student. And the students are married. So you can imagine how many hugs she gave. Again was saying, Mom, that hug from Teacher Oderi was very, very, special. So the little extra things that matter are done. So to the parents maybe whose minds are not made up, I have shared out of humility the amazing things that FISA has done for my family. I would encourage you to look at the FISA. Am I back? I'm seeing my internet is unstable.
I can hear you. You can proceed.
Am I back?
Yes, you're back.
Thank you. Please watch the FISA social handles. Their TikTok page, Facebook, Instagram. Just to watch the testimonies from the children, because it is very real and very live. The last 2 things I'll say is FISA helps the children to be market ready world ready, proud African children who know their place, but with humility. Humility is something that is very key in the school. And the first time I heard about humility was by and to grow. Allow me to just add one thing that I've talked about my son who FISA helped to show the greatness. But the other thing that I've seen in the school is every child is given an opportunity to thrive because every child is unique. That is something I have seen. Maybe other parents are not able to talk about the challenges their children have. But it's not just that you are book smart. Every child has their innate greatness and they're able to thrive. There's something that FISA does that brings it out. The headache we have kept giving Engineer Oko and Jodheri is, where do we take our children? Because if MYP was not there in FISA, where would we have taken them? And we kept saying we want FISA University. So I am on record saying we're demanding FISA University. We are happy that we have DP. They will transition because we don't want to leave them hanging. And so as I finish, just maybe two more things. Nobody has talked about the library in FISA. You'll be able to see it from the social handles. During our times, the library, unless you were bookworm, it was a very boring place that has very boring books. You enter the library at FISA, you will take a book and read whether you like it or not. That again shows the intentionality of the school. Now, when Agengo went to the school, he was a proper bookworm, a proper nerd. His only friend was, gadgets. And he's gifted in the world of IT. And so by extension, he was very obese. This is a child who has shed off his weight by himself in a healthy way. He swims a lot. And at FISA, there's a for us parents, there is a WhatsApp line that shows media of what's happening at the school. So for me, at one point, I saw him. He's a Manchester City fan, but from Manchester Bariano. So I saw my son jumping up and celebrating, and I was like, is that? I had to look at it severally. Is that my son? My son who was a bookworm, who knew nothing about football, who had no friends in Nairobi, seated with other people, jumping up and down, celebrating a score. So I realized this school is very, very, very unique. So it's not just about being book smart. It's not just about going to clubs. It's not just about extracurricular activities, but they actually change a person. So for those who are on a journey of weight loss, it has to start with the mind. He has shed weight. We normally look at the photos with Teacher Oderi and we laugh in a good way, just showing the journey that has transformed him. Lastly, I know I've said lastly many times, I thank the school fraternity. When we had the Usiku wa Ufalme, which was their prom, as they finished MYP5 and they're going for DP, he got the legacy award for the school, the first recipient. And so we are telling him that he has to hold that high. But having described how he went to the school and where he is, you can see why he got the legacy award. He was not perfect. He has fallen many times, risen up, and is willing to learn and move steps forward. So to Teacher Oderi, Teacher Oku, thank you so much for giving the parents the opportunity to speak. I hope I've touched a few souls. Please don't hesitate. Bring your child as they are. You don't need to prepare them for anything. If nothing else convinces you, please remember that 40-second clip shared in humility, but as thanksgiving to God to show what FISA has done to our children. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mama Gengo. That was I don't know what can I add. It is so clear. The transformation when Agengo came. In fact, I'm glad because I was also here. I have seen his growth, the trajectory from the beginning up to the point that he is right now. I can say this boy has grown. This boy has changed. This boy is going to be a great person in life. And he has already become a great person. Thank you even the administration for the opportunities that you're giving these young kids. I'm impressed by the Agengos, the desire to learn more. He went for comprising, and he became even a leader there. That's something that is impressive. He became a leader. He's now even helping select others who are there. Mind you, he was probably the youngest. He was not even 16 yet, but he became a leader there who was chosen to select others. That's a good. That shows the trajectory that he's taking in life. Thank you so much, Mama Agengo, and also for trusting FISA with Agengo in terms of boarding. He has been a great boarder among other students, and even discipline-wise, it's being maintained continuously. Okay, we have good boarding facilities for each and everyone. Those who are asking, so we have quality boarding facilities that whichever kid, wherever your kid is coming from, I'm sure that they'll be comfortable there and they will thrive even in our boarding culture and environment. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, our panelists. I'll just ask the panelists again, just one last question for all the panelists, just to conclude. And please, if the panelists, make sure just one sentence, one short, powerful, just from your heart, yeah? If you're to sum all that you have said in one sentence, for a parent who is not undecided, who has not decided, what can you give, or what message can you tell them so that you may give them the courage to make the leap and just join FISA, where their child is going to grow? Let me start with Mr. Gadu, who left previously. You can tell us what you think about that.
Thank you. Sorry, network manenos. One thing I'll share, all I will say is that I'm a testimony of FISA, Freedom International, because I told you I saw the vision, and the vision has been very consistent. Out of the parents who have shared, you've seen what I saw from day one, and I can say that is what I imagined and what I have gotten. So I was not shortchanged. Thank you, FISA, and I will always be your advocate. If I was able, in all my social, I'll be like posting FISA to for every parent to see how great this school is. So thank you and welcome all the parents who have not yet made up your mind. This is a great school. I am a testimony, and
Thank you.
I don't even know what to say, but that is what FISA is. Karibuni sana.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Wanjiko, Belknap?
For me, I would say to other parents who are interested or who are curious, if you make this move, and I encourage you to make this move, this is like a lifelong investment in your child. It is something that you'll never look back and regret. In fact, you'll look back and be grateful. And like for me personally, I wish I had done it sooner. So I would say invest in your children. This is a solid investment. This is like how they say 100% money back guarantee. This one, you're making a good choice. It will help your children. It will help shape them, and it will give back in dividends. So stop hesitating, make the move, bring your children to FISA. Kabisa.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Mama Shazia.
Yes, thank you very much once again. My parting shot is the best thing that a parent can give to their child is an education that enables them to appreciate themselves, stir their confidence while preparing them to thrive in a dynamic world. We live in a dynamic world, and it is high time we realize that we need to nurture in our children skills that will help them for a lifetime. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. That is brilliant. Let's hear from Nehanda Sankofa.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, this has just been overwhelming, very impactful, heartwarming, affirming, because I'm following my spirit, and spirit is saying I'm making very good decisions. So yeah, the testimony has been just very, very powerful, and I'm just really happy to have found FISA.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And you're very welcome. Welcome. We can't wait to see you. Mama George.
We are very grateful to be part of FISA fraternity, and we are truly a blessed and a living testimony, especially for diaspora family community.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
So I would encourage each and every one of you who is listening to us to come to give your children this opportunity and this chance to become global citizens, to explore the world, and not without losing their identity and their Africanism.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Mama Gengo.
What can I add? So to any parent there who is still hesitating, please bring your child as they are. You don't need to package anything. And my heart is telling me we are watching history unravel. Please don't be left out. Do not hesitate. Amazing things are happening in our school. We call it our school. It's not the school of Dr. Oderi and Teacher Uku. Please come. Do not hesitate. Do not wait. Come and be part of this huge blessing. When we say that Africa is the next hub, it already is. And our children are the future. Please don't hesitate. And please share this beautiful message. You never know who it will touch. Just like Honorable Yvonne was a blessing to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you, our panelists, for this amazing opportunity to share about our school with us and with the world. And I'm so grateful. Just a reminder, if you have any question you can ask, we have our contacts shared there. I've shared. You can email us at info@fisa.africa. Our contact is also there. I've shared it via the chat. Thank you so much for everyone who has attended. Yes, I'd like to take this chance to welcome our principal. Then she will welcome the director, and then we'll conclude the meeting. Yes, our principal, Dr. Oderi.
Please, I give the opportunity to Oko to wind up for us. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'm so blessed. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Dr. Derry. I want to say that today, listening to these testimonies that came out from these parents, it spoke loud. It spoke so loud that it touches my heart and the heart of so many people. And I will tell you this for free, that you have inspired millions of people around the world. Your story is a living testimony of pure transformation, unfiltered waters of healing that can change our life and the life of our children and the children of our friends and even enemies. Such a transformative power in our educational system. I want to thank you for these testimonies, and I want to remind us that when God blesses you and you refuse to say it, He takes it away from you. Today I've experienced certain kind of goosebumps as I listen to every one of you, giving pure testimonies from your heart, saying the good work God has done in your life. The power of the Al-Kabulan has resonated again, and I can promise you this: Africa is rising again. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and may God bless you.
Thank you so much for attending. It has been an amazing webinar. Yes, feel free to contact us. The contacts have been shared. We'll keep sharing them. Follow us on our social media so that you can see more of what we do. Share with your friends, share in your forums, and all will be well. We're looking forward to seeing you when we open school in September. Thank you so much. If you have any question, you can remain and you can ask. If you feel like you need a personal interaction, you're free.
Excuse me, I would like to ask a question.
Please do, yes.
I just want to ask about the admission criteria, and does the previous, like the current performance of the child determine whether they get admitted or not? How does that go?
Baraka Mwangi, please respond. Thank you so much for that question.
Okay, Mwangi.
Okay, thank you. When you asked the criteria of the admission, number one, we normally do a sort of an interview, and the purpose of this interview is not to pass or fail the child, but to see the kind of intervention we need to put across when we get this child on board, because we have a transition phase. Because unless a child is coming also from an IB school, we have an onboarding session or period of time whereby we mentor this child, prepare this child to get into the system seamlessly, and for this child also not to feel left out when he is fully integrated with the rest of the class. And our interviews are quite unique because you get a real-time experience. Other than maybe 2-3 papers, you also get to experience how does a day look like when you're in FISA. And at the end of the day, you will come for the child, we'll give you the feedback, and the necessary intervention that need to be made. We have our homeroom teachers and subject teachers ready to help the child, and that comes after the interview. And to kickstart the process, that's when the child is after admission. After admission, that is when we now bring this intervention, whereby bringing on board the mentors, homeroom teachers, etc., to assist the child. So yes, when we get the report of the child from maybe the previous school, we also do our interviews to see what kind of help do we need to administer to this child. So we are open for all of us because we have an inclusion policy that does not hold back any individual to access their IB. So we are all included in this framework, and depending on the learner's need, we are always ready to prepare the individualized education plan. And also during class time, we also do a lot of the differentiated learning. So do not be worried by the child's current performance, because you always believe that there is that innate brilliance of the child, and we are ready to tap it out. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, just one last question. And does a child have to start as a day student, or can they come straight to boarding?
Yeah, we are flexible. If you want the child to come direct to boarding, we are open. We have, I do believe, one of the guy behind shared some of the boarding facilities. So if you want the boarding for your child, it's even the better, because the child has more contact time with the teachers. But still, the option of the day scholars is still there. But if you need for boarding, we are flexible enough because it gives us enough time to interact with the child.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful.